Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
So when you're taking a break, sometimes it's good to reflect on things. And you know what we need to reflect on, Rohan?
Is it our great sponsor, EcoBarista?
It's our fantastic sponsor, EcoBarista. So it's ecobarista.com.au. Sign up with your, log on, sign up, put your email into the tab, get 15% off your first order.
Yeah,
you really throw me off here.
You get 15% of. You got to log in, sign in. No, this is the ad. Do not press stop record. This is what's being said. They make great eco-friendly products. They got compostable. They got recyclable. You sign in, and how much do you save?
15%.
That's right.
So cups, coffee bags, lids, iced coffee cups. It can all be found at ecobarista.com.au. Thanks again for sponsoring our wonderful podcast. That's ecobarista.com.au.
Barista.com.au.
Are you an eco warrior?
No. I'm an eco-barista.
Love it.
After a long chat, after a long talk, sometimes you just need to sit back and have a little coffee break.
Yeah, you do.
You just need to take your time. You need to put your feet up, relax.
And don't let anyone tell you, Rohan, that coffee podcasting isn't exhausting. We've done days where we've recorded up to 6 podcasts, I think. Man. And, we love doing this, don't get me wrong, but it sometimes can...
I think it's a different... I think there's a different thing because you're so switched on because you're trying to engage, take in everything that's being said, make sure that you're responding in an articulate way. You have to really be on. And also, the prep beforehand, getting it on. There's a real, adrenaline, What would you call it? What's the opposite of the adrenaline rush after you've done it? You just crash almost. You start coming down.
You do. But I've been with Nolan most of the day today already. So, and had so many coffees, feeling a bit dry,
And we just had an amazing podcast with Nolan Hurty, as we learned how to say it there, who runs Proud Mary. And we will definitely talk about that because there's a few things. He actually had a little convo with us before he left that I'd like to pass on some of what he was saying. But first off, we're going from the relaxed mode of coffee break and we're back with Ancestry.
Ancestry DNA. Show it loud and proud to the...
Ancestry DNA. We finally find out the truth behind Kirk's Italian heritage.
Now, I guess if we were to reintroduce the topic to the listener, Rohan, basically took a blowtorch to Italian coffee culture a few episodes ago. I feel like we should really let this go at some point, but fuck it, I'm having fun. And then it was revealed to me that I am, of course, 6.25% Italian. So you guys
supposedly.
So I guess we're going to do a lie detector test on the ancestry.
Yeah, this is the ultimate lie detector test. Now, the funny thing about this is I just pre-registered. I've got it. Here we go. If you're looking at home, you can see. Look at the little box. Folds out like that.
Hey, that's good packaging.
That's quite cool.
I like that.
So the first thing that I'm going to say is I couldn't be bothered. I'd registered an account and then I couldn't be bothered setting it up for Kirk. So I've just put it under my name. So this is going to come back to bite me at some point that on ancestry.com, your DNA is going to be logged under my name. So I'm going to start getting messages from long lost relatives, hopefully in a good way. Hopefully they leave me an abundance of riches when some long lost relative passes away that I don't tell you about and just hold on to.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, there's not a whole abundance.
Yeah, well, that's always the fun part. Everyone likes to say to the best of my knowledge, but there's probably some deep family history that you're not aware of. Some adoption, some disconnect. There'd be something out there.
I'm going to be so devastated if I'm anything less than 6.25% Italian. 0.1% increase, I will absolutely be loving life. But I've been, kind of knowing that I'm Italian and I can go and claim that status has been wonderfully refreshing. If there's anything less, I'll probably fucking hate myself. I'll be devastated. I'll be absolutely devastated. And this bit won't work anymore.
I know. Well, I'm hoping that we we've got some more info on the live pod coming up, but I'm hoping that we can do a live reveal on the podcast when we do it live at the end of the year.
I'm nervous.
I'm gonna pass this to you. So the funniest thing is, mate, I'm looking at this tube. It says, I know this isn't a COVID test with just a bit of up the nose, a bit of a lick. This thing is you have to fill a tube with saliva, and mate, that up to that black squiggly line, you got to huck tour on that thing.
I got a hot tour all over
You got a hot tour all over that thing, and that's a lot of spit. That's not one. That's not one. That's that's an espresso shot of spit.
Yeah, it is. So, do you want me to do it now, or shall I?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Huck tour live on the pod. I mean,
Jeez, I've got to position my
So
mustache.
for the people listening, it's a little tube with like a little mouth guard. And so, number one, fill the tube with saliva up to the black wavy line. Fill the tube until your saliva, not including bubbles, is at or just above the wavy line.
It's actually not that much. I just almost there with like 2 Huck tours.
Oh, with 2 Huck tours? You're good at the Huck tour.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah. 4 Huck tours to get there. The next thing, once don't include the bubbles, so it's got to be above the old wavy line.
Are we above?
Oh, like at or above.
Oh, so my last 3 Huck tours have been a bit light on, so I've got 1 more Huck tour to go.
One more in the chamber. All right. Then the next thing we have to do is replace the funnel with the cap. So the little spit funnel, get rid of that. Get the cap, screw it, and enclose the cap tightly, and it should release a solution. So when you do it, it will release a solution that will stabilize the DNA in your saliva.
All right, so
you screw it on tightly, and a little blue squizzle should just come straight out. Uh-oh.
Is that Huck toured?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I can see the blue. Oh, no, it's coming. It's coming.
There you go.
All right,
so it's just squizzed in. So tighten. You'll know it works when the blue solution from the cap has emptied into the tube.
Yeah,
great.
The solution has emptied into the tube. You might not be able to see it if you're watching the podcast, but you'll be able to.
It's all blue.
Yeah, it's all blue.
Shake the tube for at least 5 seconds. This will ensure your sample mixes thoroughly with the stabilizing solution, so our lab can best process your sample.
All right, so we're stabilizing the Huck tour. Yeah, it's pretty.
And now, number 4, we have to place the tube in the collection bag. So it should be that little biohazard. Mate, you could make biofuel out of that.
You could turn this into biofuel.
Chuck it in the little baggie.
All right, so baggies going in. I'll leave that little thing here.
It says, place the sample inside the collection bag, provide a DNA kit, seal the bag with the adhesive strip, mail your sample. Place your sample in the prepaid mailbox. Is that? Yeah, that must be that.
So put it back in?
Yep. Now, do I need that? Maybe I keep that card that's in there. Keep the card until your results arrive. Yeah.
No, I'll just pass the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, do you want to touch my Huck tour?
Yeah, I love it. Please, let me touch that Huck tool. All right, card is out. And that is it. And this has all been a scam. I'm actually getting a DNA so I can clone you, so I can start a podcast with Clone Kirk.
Well, I'm a little bit nervous now because what if I come back anything less than 6.25%?
Mate, you are definitely coming back.
What if I'm 0%?
Yeah. The South African in you is going to be strong.
What if I'm more South African than you remember the episode of Seinfeld where George's wife, Susan, or his fiancée, licked too many envelopes and she died?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was what just happened there. I just licked it, but it was obviously already like pre-wet. I don't know what I was thinking. It was nasty.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe there's a little Kirk Huck tour on there as well.
Well, hopefully you didn't get too much of my Huck tour.
All right, so that's it. That's getting sent in. Prepaid envelope. I'm going to pop that in the mail today. And then we'll keep you posted on what's happening there.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
All right, so Huck tours aside, we had on Nolan Herty today.
Herty. You tell you what, he didn't hurt my feelings.
No,
not
at all. He's actually, very, very much of a gentleman.
I've only just like kind of known him in passing and doing that, never had like a proper conversation with him. So I think having that kind of, as I was saying on the pod, opened up a lot of like insight into him and that kind of pursuit of what he's trying to do. And there's that great kind of artistry as well to it. Obviously he's making a lot of money and there's like that desire of like to run a successful business and do it. But there's also that side where I'm sure he's put a lot of money into buying coffee lots and, helping work with farms that he probably didn't need to, and he could have done other things that were way more lucrative. So it's really nice to see that kind of approach to coffee.
Well, it's fair to say you could have made a lot more doing, if he truly tapped into that. But he's very much about giving back to the producer, being sustainable. And, you kind of saw the lifestyle he embraced. He sort of does that. I can't remember the other word, but he was saying he does a lot of Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
What was the other one?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, I wasn't across that.
I can't
recall. Do we need to start it?
Perhaps.
First, we'll find out what it is.
But it was very refreshing for me to ask him questions because I'm going through this period of life right now where every sort of moment of my day is busy.
Yeah.
We do this podcast. We
cafe,
new cafe. Yeah, and I'm trying to do my own stuff on content wise on the internet, and it's like fuck, like have I started too much?
Yeah.
And for him to come on and sort of reflect on years of doing it and kind of how he manages it and how he sort of starts a day as well, it was actually something I really took a lot on board. And I think anyone listening to the pod today would be able to take something from.
Yeah.
And even getting your insight on that as well. Like, you know, you the difference between you when you're 20 years old and you're 30 years old, you mature so much. Like the ego settles down and like you look back on something and you're like, shit.
You also hit a point in your life where I think we're hitting a really tough point in our life now where it's, you know, the adults in our life, like our parents, our mentors, our figures. I mean, you were, you know, talking about losing your mother recently, and I lost my dad when I was young and that, but like we're now getting to a point where it's like all those older, like people are getting older, like things are happening, like life comes into a lot more perspective now. Like you're not invincible and the people aren't invincible around you. And I think in your 30s, you just start to get that perspective of like, okay, what do I actually want in life? What makes me happy? Where are my priorities in lining those things out? And I think, your 20s, if you're listening in your 20s, make sure to keep that in perspective. I know sometimes it's hard and you kind of lose yourself in what you're doing, but just think about those priorities and those things that really get you going.
Enjoy being able to like exercise or something and not hurt a whole lot the next day. Because like nowadays, for example, if I go play cricket or something, I'm like, damn, my side hurts the next day. All I did was bowl a ball. And it's like, you know, enjoy that, guys. Really, enjoy it.
And one other thing that Nolan brought up is we were just having a little chin wag after the pod. And something he said he wanted to bring up that he didn't was he wants to bring back in Australia, especially more highlighting the COE, the Cup of Excellence, which for people who don't know, it's basically if like each region, it's the Cup of Excellence gets awarded to the best producers for that year. And then they'll like have all the different lots and that kind of stuff. And it was something that I hadn't even really thought about. Like back in the day when I was working at Three Bags and it was all like, you know, Three Bags, St. Ali, Proud Mary, all that. Like all of us at different points would have our like COE lot 27 or lot whatever, like up there. And that's kind of fallen off. And I was asking him, is that about money? Is that about just like people not caring as much? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, the Cup of Excellence has really expanded a lot in the last few years. And I feel like because there's so many more countries that are involved, maybe there's been a bit of like exhaustion. It's like, okay, well, I can't really keep across all of this now because now it's in Ethiopia, it's in Indonesia, and it's in, I think they even have it in Taiwan, which is actually, you know, on the whole, a really good thing. But maybe there's just been a little bit of exhaustion. You know, people not really buying as expensive lots in Melbourne anymore. And this is something I touched on with Nolan a lot today is that like cafes are still spending the same amount on green coffee, which means they're not getting better quality stuff. They're settling for less. So it's still considered specialty, but like there's not as much really good quality stuff.
So I kind of asked him, I was like, do you think it's because of the price? And he was like, no. It's not.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree with that?
Maybe that comes back to the like kind of the exhaustion thing, right? Because there's so much to keep track of, I guess, and there's so many, and there's different auction lots as well. Like for example, Panama, Best of Panama is like a separate thing. You know, even a lot of those, even those auction lots, different producers in Panama have their own individual auctions now. So you got, you know, the Elita Estate, private auction. Esmeralda, private auction. Geisha Village have their own private auction. Even the Los Rodriguez family in Bolivia, private auction. So I think because there's so many more things, perhaps, and this is just speculation on my part, but I kind of feel like maybe in my own case, there's so much more to keep across that it's probably harder and less interesting.
And yeah, and speaking of that, just like the cost, talking about that Elita Estate, how much was that? $14,000?
$13,500 US.
$13,500, so $20,000 US Australian per kilo. How does that work? Was that bought by one like?
I think one company in South Korea bought it.
Bought all of it. Yeah. Is that how it normally works? You just buy the lot, like all of it, or
I think
does it get split up?
Often it's split.
A lot of the time, like roasters will partner with one another and go like, "Hey, let's split this 50-50, right? Or let's get 10 places in on this."
Yeah, and I mean, Nolan was actually interestingly enough saying last year that the number one Best of Panama was purchased by a little-known company in New Zealand. It's like, how many people are you going to serve that coffee to in New Zealand?
What's the story there? What are they doing with it?
Well, I don't know, but like, you know, that was Carmen Estate Geisha. You know, There's actually a lot of rich, wealthy, elite people that travel to New Zealand, so maybe there's a market there. My dad used to live on Waiheke Island, so it's like
beautiful island.
Beautiful
Had my 30th
island.
birthday there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wealth actually in Auckland, New Zealand. So perhaps there is a market for it. I'm not sure.
And how many kilos were there in that Alita estate?
I think it was like 2 or 3. So not much.
Yeah, there's not much.
Yeah, so these are particular subplots of land that that just produce this excellent coffee. And if you contrast that's like a 96, maybe 97 point coffee. And he was telling us about a different coffee that he had that was like
the Brazilian,
probably better from Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's not a geisha, it's a katukai, which a lot of people listening to this might not even know. But there's still coffee out there that's like probably just as good, if not better, but it doesn't have that brand power.
Yeah.
And this is a leader estate,
It's always such an interesting argument with all that like brand power of that kind of thing, because it does open the door and bring so many people in, but people love to get locked into a certain thing. Like even a bad example of this is talking about someone that was like a little older. My partner's mum had a friend that came over and she was going to offer her a coffee and she was like, oh no, I only drink coffee from Colombia. I only drink coffee because she'd loved that someone had told her once that Colombian coffee was the best. So she'd locked in this brand of she knows nothing about coffee. I'm fancy, so I only drink Colombian. People love just locking into a certain thing, don't they?
They do. And I just want to highlight something that Nolan said to me at
he's crashing off the pod and off the coffee.
Well, no, it's the alliteration, your names all end sort of similarly. But but he was kind of saying that we need to protect geisha and what it is. And that's kind of, and I asked him, can you clarify that? And he was kind of talking about what we spoke about with the Best of Panama sort of question with the co-fermented coffees being disqualified and that sort of thing. And, we actually strongly agreed with that contention, I thought, you and I. And you don't want co-fermented coffees entering that kind of competition and stuff like that. And that's kind of protecting the work, the sanctity and the quality of what is Panama geisha, because it really is the creme de la creme of our industry. And then you think of someone like Wilfred Lamastus, the Lamastus family that have produced these world record price coffees. Like fewer people really deserve it than people like them because they've worked so hard for generations.
Yeah.
And, they work so hard to, like Nolan was saying, like the amount of effort these guys put in to be the best of the best, the extra 1% effort to be better. And it just creates
Jack
this
Simpson.
Yeah, Jack Simpson, the aggregation of marginal gains. And I've kind of wrestled with it. And, I'm on record on this pod as like, I don't want to see coffee get too expensive, whereas like a reflection of class sort of thing. But then again, we also touched on this in this podcast where it's like, well, you can probably get a coffee of equal score somewhere else for a lot cheaper. You just need to know where to look. And this is where brand power comes in and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, and also it's just dependent on what you want and what you're going to get out of the coffee, because different origins and places and that are just going to produce those different things. So it's really like, as long as you still have access to a wide variety of like different styles and different things, then that's great. You just, as you said, you just don't want it to be a point where it's like completely inaccessible at that level, having it. Now, one thing we chatted about with Nolan, we were going to bring it up on the pod, but forgot, but we brought it up with him after. We just said, Nolan, you got a big old space.
Oh,
You got a big old warehouse space down in Collingwood, your roastery in Auntie Peg's. What's that big old space doing at the end of the year? And he said, well, Rohan, it's probably hosting your podcast.
Oh, yeah, the live podcast now has a space. I mean, tentatively speaking.
You know what? I'm a big believer in just like put it out in the world. So I'm going to say it is confirmed that we will be having the podcast at Auntie Peg's.
Well, there you have it, folks. It's confirmed. And, is there a better place to host it?
No. You said it and it was a great one because we'd been tossing it up. We're like, oh, we'll reach out. Hopefully someone comes here. But the space is huge. It's hosted by a group of people who love the coffee community and just want to share that. So he was like, I'm all about community. Please, do it. It'd be great.
So how are we going to do that? When does Liam get back? So Liam's overseas in America right now.
So this is where it's tight because we were looking at dates, right? And they're back, December 9th. So we were looking at, I reckon December 19th is too close. And you were saying a Thursday would be good, right? Like late in the week.
I think a Thursday.
Have a pod, have some brewskis.
Mm-hmm.
So 12 is probably looking, December 12 is probably looking like the date. So he's back on the 9th.
Can we pull it off in time? And then we need to plan out how we do the production of this thing. So we'll need some lights like this. Will Sam be coming? Will we get some camera work going there?
Yeah, I mean, all that side of things that we can organize. The main thing will be the sound equipment.
Okay,
is that I'm thinking about? Like, what speakers do we have to get to be able to fill that space? What will it sound like? What will that recording sound like? That's the big one. And then working out, do they have we apply for like a liquor license, like a one night, like?
Well, I mean, I'd love to get some of that grata stuff from Tim Varney that we were talking about. Get some coffee alcohol.
Get some grata. Maybe he'll come down, make some cocktails. That'd be good.
Getting some of my cold brew and then putting some vodka in that as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just saying that would make a nice.
Yeah, some of your co-ferments, that's probably like where they go to sound. We did one with the channel with the guys from Measured Guide, a cocktail channel, and we made a coffee liqueur with like few spices and like some zest and that in there. And it was like honestly more like we were talking about a Namaro. It was so good. It was just something you just sip over ice. It was light. It was floral. It was beautiful.
What was one of the things that I really took away from this podcast is kind of like how I was interested in how his expansion to America, right? So like contrasted between, Portland, Oregon and Austin, Texas really well. And what his head of coffee, his name's Jack Michael Ryan, came here and visited us at the cafe.
Jack Michael Ryan. 3 first names.
Well, it's Jack Michael is his first name, and then Ryan is his surname.
But still, Jack Michael Ryan. Sounds like the 3 boys getting in trouble at class. Jack Michael Ryan.
Yeah, shut up. It's like 3 first names kind of fused into one, isn't it? But anyway, so he came to the cafe a few months ago and kind of described to me what it's like in Austin, Texas. It's like it's busier. People pay more for coffee. The cafe kind of does well because there's no state income tax in Texas. So they're one of the
few. Which is why all the startups are there, right?
Yeah, so businesses, I guess, personal expenses as well. Like, and I think there's a few other states like that, like Florida and Arizona. I'm pretty sure are both also state income tax exempt. So yeah, like cafes seem to do quite well over there, and like it's a booming city. So
it is. It's such a cool city. There's such a vibe there. I've done South by Southwest there a few times, and it goes off, and it's such a cool mix of like the old and the new. Yeah, I love Austin.
I really want to go
barbecue.
I really want to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't do. I want to do New Orleans.
I really want to go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive NFL football fan, as we've spoken about plenty of times on this podcast. So the Houston Texans are like my guys.
Yeah.
I need to go to Houston.
Well, that's a good idea. There's a certain coffee company. I don't know if I brought it up. There's a certain coffee machine company that will maybe fly me out over, and maybe that's a good one. I can do that.
What state will you go to when that happens?
None of your business.
Oh, you try to keep it a secret from me?
Well, I don't want to like throw anything throw anything out there and then get in trouble and get it cut off. So I want to make sure that it can happen if it's to happen. But then from there, head on over to New Orleans.
New Orleans, jazz scene, allegedly.
Oh, yeah. That's what I need to get into.
Some Louisiana cooking as well. Is New Orleans in Louisiana? I think it is.
Sorry, just checking the NBA score there. Sorry to cut you off there.
Who's winning?
It's the Dubs are down by 9 with 3 minutes left, so not looking good. But it could.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Clippers.
Okay.
And they've lost to the Clippers already this season, so just going again.
Yeah, okay. Cleveland Cavaliers had a hot start to the year.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I know, 15-0. They're still going. Let's hit it here. What do we got? New Orleans by itself.
I think it's in the state of Louisiana.
Louisiana Fast.
Kentucky's a state as well. Louisville is the capital of Kentucky. I think. Man, we need to get over to America.
Yeah.
We need to get this pod over to America.
When we said, can we use your space for the pod to Nolan, he was like, in Oregon? I was like, no, here. But I was like, maybe that's the next one.
We haven't quite got the budget for that yet, Nolan. But
I mean, I think he was offering to fly us out. I think that's what he said.
Oh, yeah, Nolan, you're offering to fly us out.
He was going to put us in a chilled shipping container and put a tracker on it.
Maybe we can do like a world tour sponsored by some coffee company. I don't know.
Well, that should. I mean, if we went out, GB went out to La Marzocco last year to Italy just to go and see the factory and do all, shoot some stuff over there. So it's all possible.
I will say a lot more people have been coming into the cafe and mentioning, like, they'll say, "G'day, Kirk." I was like, "Okay, I've never met you in my life." But like, I listen to the podcast. So it's like that. A lot of people pull me up, tripping up like that. And it's like,
it's good.
I think we've got more and more listeners tuning into this podcast now, which is great.
Well, even on that, like, that's the funny one with me. Normally, like, if anyone's come up and listened, I'm like, normally it's from Golden Brown or doing that. But then a few times where it's like people are like, "Hey, Rohan," and they're like, "I listen to the pod." I'm like, "Oh, not Golden Brown." Like, no, just the pod.
But this is an interesting contrast, right? Like, you do all those videos where you don't really introduce yourself, but this is a podcast where people can really get to know us and like the storylines and.
Yeah, that's the other thing I've noticed. I didn't have my name out there at all before when it was Golden Brown. I did that on purpose. I just wanted it to be like, even though I was in the videos, I wanted Golden Brown to be its own thing, and because it's a business. And so with this, I put the name out there. But now there's a few comments on the Instagram where people are just calling me out by name in that. So I'm like, oh, that's good. There's a listener.
Yeah. Do you reckon you got the most sort of hate from the Italian video?
Which Italian one?
The one where you said they have bad coffee?
Oh, from compared to mine? No. I did another one that was like showing people how to properly make a stovetop coffee with a mocha pot. So it was in another Italian one where it was just Italians abusing me about that. I just did another one that
wasn't the Alaskan duck fart, was it?
I did espresso zabaione, or zabaione, sorry. But I didn't put in the masala because I didn't want wine. But then that's 50-50. That's got a lot of love of people being like, "I love this." That's like raw egg yolk beaten with sugar to make like a cream that you then mix with your espresso. There's some people calling me out. They're like, "That's uovo spadato," whatever it is, which is right. I just didn't put in the masala because, is that what it's called? The wine thing.
I don't put things in the portafilter.
Not in the portafilter. It's in the bloody custard mix.
I don't watch reality TV, right?
But that one got a fair bit of few likes on it though. Definitely diving into anything Italian as a video as some advice for someone starting a channel. If you pull up anything Italian and culture wise, you will definitely boost that engagement.
Okay.
What's your plan? What's your kind of mission statement with Kirk the barista?
I think just enlighten the general public to things that baristas do.
Yeah.
Like, I had this video, for example, like where we were programming our machine the other day. I was like, well, people probably don't know like they get the coffee, but they don't understand the process of making it.
Yeah.
And right now it's like, I'm limited to what I can do with the cafe, but hopefully soon, my goal is next year to go film some content overseas.
Yep.
So I'm hoping I can get there. Nolan actually invited me to join him on a trip to, I'd have to pay for it myself, but going to Panama and stuff like that next year. So
do it.
Being able to go interview some of those guys would be excellent. And I think, educating people on those sorts of things, because there's plenty of creators right now that'll show you how to do, X, Y, and Z. But I think I want to really enlighten people on the story of coffee. And, We had a cupping at our shop the other day, which I posted a little video about, and it was kind of like one of those things where it's just like, it kind of reminds me why I'm in the industry. It's like, passing on what and like, I feel so privileged that I have a job where, I work for myself now, but also like when my head hits the pillow, I'm one of the feeling I often get is like excitement to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't need to make much money if that's kind of how my life is.
Yeah.
So it's like a very privileged position to be in.
Yeah. What was the study a while ago? It was like, they say money can't buy happiness, but a new study shows money can buy happiness. And at the time when the study came out, it was like, and that money is $75,000 a year. It's like, this will guarantee that you can have health cover, a roof over your head, food on the table, this and this and this. But beyond that, it doesn't make you any happier with what you're doing. So it's like, as long as you can get by, that's fine. And I think that's interesting what you're saying about your social channel, because it's like, you're kind of like the next step from like people who have watched our channel. Because our idea was like to get people in the door of coffee, of like, I'm making it home. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to like get these steps up. I'm trying to like touch, and we're kind of like bringing them up through that level. And then I feel like once people have then dived in and been like, I'm a coffee person now, yours is that next one of like opening up that world. There's the next doors to like what it really is,
And I think eventually I want to let people know how hard I work and how much I've sacrificed to be able to do what I'm doing now. Like, I went from having a nice job with a car and like, life being pretty easy to now I don't have a car. I get everywhere by foot. And, that's not like a super big hardship for obviously, but like, and how many hours I work and like I don't pay myself a lot so that I can reinvest in my business. Yeah. Like I do some tough yards now so that hopefully I could have a brighter future and like continue to do what I love. And it was really good to bounce things like that off Nolan today. Yeah. Because I'm probably in the most crazy period of my life right now where, working hard at the shop's getting busier. Thank God. This podcast is getting busier and, more and more opportunities opening for you and I. And like I'm smashing myself, but like I am loving it. But I think, I'm getting at the point now where I need to kind of like stop and, well, not stop, but like pause and enjoy the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. All these like, being business owners, like it's a tough side. Like Sonam and I, we didn't pay ourselves for 2 years because we just reinvested everything back into it. Like, getting the shops, getting the space, like it's a lot of hard work and it is hard finding that balance. But I think it's important to do so. In that, well, we've had some good, serious moments, some enlightening moments. I feel like you could go deep with Nolan. It felt like he could have some deep chats, getting into like philosophy and life and all that kind of stuff.
And exactly 100%. And he's to me like he's one of the 4 horsemen of specialty coffee, not just in Australia but globally. Yeah, he's really pushed that movement, and has always done it with Proud Mary, and like I said, he's one of my idols. He's one of the people that really propelled my coffee career. When we first met that day, and he's had a huge impact on me. And so again, very privileged to be able to do this as an activity and have people like him on. Like we're getting the good guests on this podcast now.
The best guests.
We got so many more people coming. So it's like I'm so glad that we're going to be a resource for other people.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to meet a few of you when we do this live podcast at Auntie Peg's.
At Auntie Peg's.
It's locked in on December 12th. But no, we will come back to you with more details on that next week as we start to lock in some of these things, lock in some of the guests. I want to bring back some of our fan favorites, some of the most beloved characters, friends of the show.
Well, I just Caleb Holstein reached out and he's coming back on the pod in the new year. So
no, I said some of the favorites.
Oh,
that is under the bus. No, that would be amazing. I'd love to get him back.
No, that'd be excellent. We got some. I don't want to give myself like. There's one guest that I've been working on for so long that has finally said yes, I'm coming on. I don't want to.
Don't give it away yet.
I don't want to give it away, but like I've been messaging this person. I've gone about it really creatively. Must have asked like between 10 and 15 times. So we finally secured this guest, and I cannot wait for you all to listen to that one. So,
and if you want to participate, if you want to help out with the live show, if you're a brand that wants to sponsor anything, any giveaways for any of the people coming in, give you a little shout out as we're live on the pod. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, maybe Monan. What's their name? Sorry, I just blanked on it. This is bad.
Am I incriminating by saying this? You're asking Danny Choi.
Yeah. Why is that incriminating?
I don't know, because we're like kind of asking for a commitment that they can't make before the pod. This is risking it to get the biscuit.
Yeah. I mean, throw it out there. They gave us we got like 40 bottles of the stuff down in the back from them. They gave us a giant drum of it.
All right. Well, yeah, let's reach out. Well, after let's wrap this up. We'll pack up the gear. We'll have a bit of a tactics meeting with Sonam because we're on the clock here. Yeah. Got to get it done by December 12th. Let's do it.
Yeah, so reach out to us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. See us on the socials at It's Just Coffee Pod. That's a great episode. I'm still I'm now coming down like you off that coffee high with Nolan. That was quite a pod.
I'm looking forward to the live pod because it's kind of like let's not even print our own questions. Let's just get entirely audience questions and just discuss it.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good way to do it. But you heard how to get in contact with us via the email. Follow at It's Just Coffee podcast on Instagram. Reach out to us, send us your hot takes. And we forgot to do the live read during the podcast. I'll have to edit this part out. We got sponsors now. So, we're really missing having producer Leo. You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. Fade out, fade paradise.
Put up a parking lot. Ooh, bop, bop, bop.
And it's time to finish our coffee break with a little word. Or from us. I was going to say from our sponsor, but it's from us, right? It's from us about our sponsor, Eco Barista. They're sponsoring the pod. We're sponsored. We love it.
This is our love letter to you, Eco Barista. So we want our listeners, if you've got a cafe, coffee business, whatever, I want you to go right now to ecobarista.com.au, put your email in their tab, get 15% off your first order, and just enjoy your life.
15% off. Go take yourself out to a nice steak dinner. Or not, if you're a vegetarian like you. Take yourself down to Spice Mix and just sit down and enjoy a nice curry.
Enjoy the finer things in life. So you can just log on to Automentum as one of your ordering platforms. Just order your goods, receive it in like a day or two. It's so easy. That's ecobarista.com.au. They've got a lot of packaging solutions for you. So I really encourage you to get onto them. And thanks again, Eco Barista, for supporting the podcast. You an eco warrior?
No, I'm an eco barista.